All right, I wanted to maybe go through some thoughts and ideas on warming up. I have found as I've gotten older, for me, my left hand is the one that I get pain in it, especially through my thumb and down the index finger here. And I believe that it's sometimes due to arthritis, and it's also probably sometimes due to overplaying, some combination of those two, but I think it's both. I know I have arthritis in my left thumb because it does get painful. So here's a couple thoughts. You know, one thing that when it flares up, I realize that I've not been probably doing my warm-ups as well as I probably should. And there's a couple different ways to warm up. You know, one is just stretching, trying to get some stretching nice and easy. Don't want to overextend, but I'm putting my palms together, fingers together, and as I lower my hand here, obviously I'm getting a little bit of arch in here. I'm getting some stretching through here, but I don't like to overdo it. Just you know, hold it steady there for a little bit. You know, maybe push back and forth a little bit to stretch. You know, and then I usually try to do some finger warm-ups, just going through range of motion. And another one that's real helpful, this is going to take me a second to get set up, so you'll bear with me. Another one that I like to do that actually was shown to me by a friend who was a physical therapist is, you know, I'll stand with both hands like this, and you can't see my head, but I'll rock back and forth, and I am now looking to the right as you're looking at me, same direction my fingers are pointing, and as I'm rocking back to the left, my head is going to the left, so my hands are going as well as my head is going, and that kind of, you know, it helps with sort of flossing the nerves, and it's something that I routinely do. So you might try that. That's a thought. Another thing, let me get resituated. Another thing that I try to do is I've got two braces that I wear, and I don't, you know, I wear them mostly around the house. This one is smaller, and you know, it kind of keeps my wrist warm. I still have full motion, and I actually can play with this one on. And I don't play all the time with it on, but I wear that one quite a bit. I also have this one that helps me. This one is stiff. It's got in the palm side, it's got some stiffness. I can't bend it there. And your hand slides in, and then you can tighten it up. You don't want to make it too tight because it will cut off circulation. And this one I don't have the freedom of motion to, you know, go forward whatever direction that's medically known as. And I often will wear this one to bed to kind of hold, you know, to prevent from putting weight on it. So it's like I say, my issues are probably a combination of arthritis and overuse. The other thing that I do personally is I drink grape juice with Certo. I do drink that several times a day. You know, maybe a half a cup to a 3/4 of a cup with a little bit of Certo in it. That's supposed to help with arthritis, and none of these are necessarily, I'm certainly no medical doctor, so take that with a grain of salt, but those are some things that I like to do. Once I do pick up the mandolin, you know, I usually am going to try to do some level of warm-up, you know, and it usually ends up being the same thing. For me, usually ends up being very similar licks, but they're exercising my fingers. I'm not playing them hard. I'm just kind of going through some motion, both right hand and left hand. So get yourself a couple of different licks and things that you can do to help yourself warm up. I'm going to pull this in a little bit closer. So that's some things to start with. You know, once I get warmed up and I'm getting kind of into the practice, there's a couple things that I like to do to practice. You know, obviously we all like to play tunes. We all like the sound of playing music and playing different tunes. There we go. That's better. But it is important to sit down and go through some fundamentals. So you can do different right hand practice. So a couple of those, you can do 2 strokes on the D string, followed by 2 strokes on the A string, and just get that going. Work your speed up, and then do it backwards. Pick hard. You know, so that's a thought. You can do just 1 pick on each one. Slowly work your speed up, and then do it the opposite direction. Start on the A string down to the D string. You know, this one's harder because you're going the opposite direction. Get that right hand going. You know, so that's one thing you can do. You can also do 3 string rolls. And I still do the up down. Some people will do down down up. You look at my right hand. That's down down up. I used to do that. And then some do down, up, up. And I can do those, but I feel more comfortable sticking with the down, up, down, up, down, up. You know, don't get frustrated with these. Just kind of pick them up and just kind of go through those, you know, and then pick a key and do scales. Do a G scale, do an A scale too. You know, G scale starting on the open G string, lowest string. A scale starting on the first fret. I'm sorry, second fret of the G string. And then obviously the arpeggios. And the way that I like to practice the arpeggios, there's a lot of different ways to practice them, but you know, start out just doing, so a G arpeggio, open G, 4th fret, open D, 5th fret, just a 1 octave arpeggio in G. Get it going both ways. and then get it in C. And your starting note is the 5th fret of the G string. That's a C note. So it's 5th, then 2nd on D, delta, 5th on delta, and then middle finger 3 on alpha. And this one's especially important because that formation right there with those 2 fingers, you can do an awful lot. That's just a very common formation to use. And then get the 1 in D. And then do them together. And do the ascending and descending. And then on a couple of them, do 2 octaves, like on G. So the last note is the 3rd fret of the E string, echo string. And you'll notice the middle part of that, the 2nd one, is the same as that C arpeggio. It's just moved that direction 1 string. Nice thing about that shape is you can do it, it's movable. Completely movable. So that's a thing, and then as you get comfortable with that, you know, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. When you get to the point, I think there's actually a lesson on this already. An audio lesson. Whoops. Those are the scale modes. Those are the different scale modes, and each one of those, so it starts on a G, then it goes to a B minor, then it goes, let's see, it goes to an A minor, I'm sorry, then to a B minor, then to a C major, then to a D major, then to an E minor, and then to this F sharp diminished or whatever it is, and then back to the G. Those are the scale modes. Every one of those is played with a note that's in the G major scale. And that's in G. And then once you get that, and you got that in your ear, do it in the key of A. Do the same thing in the key of A, which starts on that A note, 2nd fret G string. So those are some thoughts. There's a number of arpeggio exercises in tab, and I don't normally try to tab things out. I can I can try to certainly tab this out for you, some of these arpeggios, but they are really important to learning where you are on the fretboard, I'm sorry. So that's some thoughts on some warm-up and practice things that I would do. I would do those. I do those probably twice, 3 times, sometimes 4 times a week. You know, and then the last thing is these rolling, and they're kind of along with the scale modes as well as these rolling or circular scales. You know, you can do a G scale, 2-octave G scale. Well, then you can do it in a circular pattern. You know, so, and then do them descending as well. Whoops. And then do them ascending and then descending. You know, so those are some thoughts on practicing. That's 17 minutes, and I didn't go into a lot of detail. If you need or want more detail on any piece part of this, just let me know.